men are keeping. They say a strong Christian connection makes men better husbands, fathers, and leaders.
I just feel good about myself and feel good about my family.
Town Hall goes inside the Promise Keepers, Sunday at 6.
Best-selling author Judith Krantz, tomorrow at 9.
On the side of a mountain in the former Yugoslavia, the Commerce Secretary Ron Brown and many others missing and presumed dead after their plane crashes.
He was a magnificent life force. And those of us who loved him will always be grateful for his friendship and his warmth.
And a major break in the Unabomber case. A suspect is in custody.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
There has been good news and there has been bad news for Americans to date. In rural Montana this afternoon, the FBI has taken into custody a man the FBI describes as the principal suspect in the Unabomber case. The so-called Unabomber has confounded law enforcement for 18 years, and we will have a full report from our chief investigative reporter, Brian Ross. The tragic news is in the former Yugoslavia. It was mid-afternoon when an Air Force plane carrying the Secretary of Commerce, Ron Brown, and 32 other people crashed while coming into land at Dubrovnik Airport in Croatia. The weather was terrible when the plane suddenly disappeared from radar screens just minutes before landing at the airport.
The aircraft was on the instrument approach, was in contact with the tower at the Dubrovnik Airport when contact was lost.
For U.S. forces in the region, there was clearly confusion about what had happened. Helicopters and Special Forces aircraft flying from Italy on the other side of the Adriatic Sea concentrated first on searching the sea. Reports of wreckage in the water were wrong. The Croatian police were the first to locate the crash site on the side of a hill less than 2 miles from the Dubrovnik runway, and Croatian Special Forces have now secured the area.
There have been unconfirmed by anybody in the U.S. side reports that there have been some casualties on the ground, obviously, but there are unconfirmed, and I want to stress, unconfirmed reports of a survivor on the ground.
A later report says that survivor has died, but the search continues. U.S. forces and the U.S. ambassador to Croatia reportedly made several attempts to get to the crash site, but were apparently thwarted early on by the weather and the very difficult terrain. There was only a dirt road up the mountain. Secretary Brown and several American business leaders had been with U.S. forces at Tuzla in Bosnia before taking off this morning. Mr. Brown was leading a U.S. mission to Bosnia, during which he hoped to involve the U.S. private sector in the crucial post-war job of redevelopment and reconstruction. The senior business executives who were on board the plane represented various industries whose technology or services the U.S. government thought might be used to revive an economic infrastructure crippled by war. There were also Commerce Department officials on board, a New York Times reporter, Nathaniel Nash, a Croatian interpreter, a State Department official, and an Air Force crew of 6. This is a terrible blow for all the families of those who've been killed. Because Mr. Brown is an important public figure in government, in Democratic Party politics, and in the American black community, his death affects a great many people. For one thing, he was a close friend of the president and an influential cabinet member who had very much helped the president get elected in the first place. Here's our White House correspondent, Rick Hume.
When the President and First Lady left Secretary Brown's residence after calling on his family this afternoon, no one from the U.S. government had yet reached the crash site, and all information had come through Croatian officials. But there was no doubt it was Brown's plane that had gone down, and when the President spoke of him at the Commerce Department later, it was in the past tense.
He was one of the best advisors and ablest people I ever knew. And he was very, very good at everything he ever did.
Mr. Clinton said he had asked Brown's wife what he should say to these employees of a department whose very existence had been threatened in the budget battle with Congress.
She said, tell them Ron was proud of them, that he liked them, that he believed in them, and that he fought for the Commerce Department, and tell them that you're going to do that now, which I thought was an incredible thing.
The President said Brown had especially liked a scriptural passage from the book of Isaiah.
They who wait upon the Lord shall have their strength renewed. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and faint not. Well, Ron Brown walked and ran and flew through life. And he was a magnificent life force.
The two-day trade mission that put Ron Brown and his party aboard that military 737 started with a visit this morning with American troops based in Tuzla, Bosnia. Brown spoke to them in words not unlike those the president would later use at the Commerce Department.
The job that you have done is extraordinary, and all of the American people share the pride that we who are here with you today feel about you.
Brown had been in the former Yugoslavia accompanied by Commerce Department officials and American businessmen to encourage U.S. trade to help rebuild the region's economy. He was flying into Dubrovnik to attend a dinner there tonight. Then he was scheduled to visit Sarajevo tomorrow before returning home. This afternoon, the Pentagon said there had been no distress calls from the plane as it came in over the mountains to land, and that U.S. rescue teams had had great difficulty reaching the scene.
They couldn't get in by helicopter. They're proceeding up now afoot. And I can't give you an exact time they're going to reach the crash site. They could be there at this very minute.
Ron Brown had been the Democratic Party's chairman and had worked for everyone in it, from Ted Kennedy to Jesse Jackson to Bill Clinton. How important was he? He was the man Mr. Clinton chose as his personal emissary to help revive the economy of California, cornerstone of Mr. Clinton's hopes for re-election. Britt Hume, ABC News, the White House.
The Air Force plane in which Mr. Brown was flying is a T-43. It's the military version of the familiar Boeing 737. We know very little about what may have caused the crash, but what we know from ABC's Lisa Stark.
The Dubrovnik airport can present pilots with a difficult approach because the terrain is mountainous. Today's poor weather with low visibility and high winds would have added to the difficulty, but 3 pilots had successfully landed earlier. The pilot coming in from the north was using his instruments to land in the bad weather.
There were no calls made indicating any kind of a problem aboard the aircraft. It appeared to be a routine approach.
At some point during that approach, controllers lost contact with the plane, which crashed into a rugged hillside 2,300 feet high.
As they were on approach to this runway, the aircraft impacted on the hill here.
The crash site is nearly 2 miles north-northwest of the airport. Pentagon officials say they do not know why the plane was off course. A pilot familiar with the airport said the Serbs had destroyed some of the navigational equipment in the area. Pilots could still use their instruments to approach in bad weather, but with less than precise navigational information about their location. The plane, the T-43, has an excellent safety record. Until today, the Air Force had never lost one in more than 20 years of operation. Used primarily for training navigators, the Air Force has 17 of the planes, including the one that crashed. The jet that went down was used just last week by the First Lady and daughter Chelsea on 2 flights in Turkey, and by Defense Secretary William Perry in Bosnia. The plane was 23 years old, based at Ramstein Air Base in Germany, and had logged 17,000 hours of flight time, not considered a lot. It was last overhauled in June of 1995.
Investigators are expected to look at weather as a factor in this crash. The plane was not equipped with a flight data recorder or a cockpit voice recorder, which would have helped explain the plane's final moments. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Washington.
We'll have more about Ron Brown later this evening on this program. But first, as we said, the other major development of the day is the break in the case of the Unabomber. In a moment, our chief investigative correspondent on what led to today's developments. Also tonight, the Freeman of Montana, a grandson and his grandparents on opposite sides of the fence.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by AT&T.
Now you can launch your business into cyberspace with a new toll-free 888 number from AT&T. It gives you all the benefits of an 800 number and a free listing on the internet, where millions of customers can find your number, check out your home page, and order your products.
Your order's flying out the door.
One small step for you, one giant leap for your business. Toll-free 888 from AT&T for the life of your business.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon the only light we'll see.
Feeling safe, being secure.
No, I won't.
It's why more families rely on Buick LeSabre than any other full-size sedan.
As you stand.
Peace of mind from LeSabre.
The other extraordinary development today is the new suspect in the so-called Unabomber case. For almost 18 years, his meticulously made bombs, 16 of them, have killed 3 people and injured another 23. Today in Montana, federal agents searched the home of and took into custody a suspect whose name is Theodore Kaczynski. ABC's Brian Ross is in our San Francisco bureau.
The FBI raid began just after noon at Kaczynski's cabin in a remote mountainous area called Stemple Pass, about 5 miles outside the town of Lincoln, Montana. Authorities say Kaczynski was not arrested, but was physically removed in handcuffs from the area, where Kaczynski was known as a kind of recluse or hermit who had lived in his rustic cabin without telephone or power since 1972. Kaczynski is a 53-year-old native of South suburban Chicago who graduated Harvard in 1962 and went on to receive a Ph.D. in mathematics at the University of Michigan. The break in the case came about 5 months ago when the FBI took a second look at the first 4 of the Unabomber's bombs, which had not been originally investigated by the FBI, including a redo of the well-known composite sketch, which is now said to closely resemble Kaczynski. Agents apparently learned that Kaczynski had been a suspect early on, but had not been fully investigated. It was when FBI agents approached Kaczynski's family that the agents came to believe they finally had the right man. Kaczynski's mother reportedly told agents she believed her son was the man, and Kaczynski's brother told agents he had regularly bought airplane tickets for Theodore to travel to Northern California on dates that seemed to match many of the bombings there. Agents are now searching for hard evidence of explosives that would link Kaczynski definitively to the series of deadly bombs and give them enough reason to put him under arrest and bring to an end an almost 18-year-old search for the Unabomber. Brian Ross, ABC News, San Francisco.
As we said earlier, the Unabomber has managed to elude law enforcement agencies for nearly 18 years, and for many of those early years, the authorities did not disclose to the public their growing suspicion that one man was responsible. Some of the history tonight from ABC's John Donvan.
For years, police investigators were almost taunted by that now famous black and white sketch, which dates to the 12th bombing outside a computer store, Salt Lake City, 1987. By that time, the Unabomber had already been doing his work for nearly a decade. Investigators traced tens of thousands of leads.
Even more disturbing is the likelihood that the Unabomber will strike again.
Because his first attacks were on people who worked for universities and the airline industry, the FBI dubbed him the Unabomber. In nearly 18 years, he found targets all over the country as he built ever more powerful bombs, constructing them in obsessive detail out of fine woods like mahogany. Even the screws were made by hand. Sometimes his bombs were planted rather than mailed. John Hauser, an engineering student, was on course to be an astronaut when he found a bomb in a computer room at the University of California at Berkeley.
When I lifted it, then the bomb exploded. Okay, and so went zap, and exploded, blew my arm off to the side like this, and the first thing I thought was, why did they do that?
His last victim received his bomb by mail. Gilbert Murray, a lobbyist for the timber industry, was killed when he opened a package at his office addressed to his predecessor. The mystery was always, why these people? Why the timber industry, or airlines, or computers? Then last year, the Unabomber offered a deal. He would stop killing in exchange for the publication of what he called his manifesto. It ran last September, all 35,000 words of it, and it offered something of an answer. It was mostly a long diatribe against technology. Quote, the Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. College professors who read that manifesto say it was obviously written by somebody well-educated and intelligent. Those impressions became clues that gave investigators new places to look for the man who wrote it. John Donvan, ABC News, New York.
Some of the other news today, a new account of the Freeman of Montana from one young man who knows after this.
What do you get when you combine springtime with spectacular prices? The Ace Springtacular Sale, where you can get help on all your spring projects at incredible Ace prices. thing's springtacular.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. Nobody does it like you.
For high traffic areas, now there's the deep cleaning power of the new Hoover Steam Vac Deluxe with 5 brush agitator.
Nobody does it like you.
What is the promise these men are keeping? They say a strong Christian connection makes men better husbands, fathers, and leaders.
I just feel good about myself. I feel good about my family.
Town Hall goes inside the Promise Keepers, Sunday at 6.
As you know, Easy Spirit makes only one kind of shoe, the comfortable kind.
Walk on, walk on. Ooh, walk on. Oh, yeah, yeah. Walk on, walk on. Walk on, walk on.
Easy Spirit. Inside's our walking shoe. Outside, the whole world.
It's open. What are you doing here? I'm going out.
I can see that. Do we have time for coffee?
What?
It's Taster's Choice.
Taster's Choice. Rich aroma, fresh taste, right in your cup.
The sky's black, the wind whips. A sinister funnel, killer tornadoes. See their awesome fury up close. Amazing picture. And learn what to do to save yourself and others. Primetime gets it done tonight on ABC.
The so-called free men of Montana got a very direct message today from their neighbors and their relatives. Give it up. It came in the form of a petition delivered by the sister and the granddaughter of Emmett Clark, who originally owned the ranch where the Freemen are. ABC's Barry Seraphin talked with another of Clark's grandchildren today, and he reports tonight on this family divided.
The stalemate at the Clark Ranch is putting both an emotional and financial strain on 29-year-old Dean Clark and his wife, Barbara.
Yeah.
Clark had always been close to his grandparents, Emmett and Rosie Clark. 2 of those now holed up at the ranch. He did not agree with their freemen beliefs, but when they lost their ranch because of a foreclosure, he stepped in.
I bought it myself so that my grandparents wouldn't lose their home.
With a $70,000 bank loan, he planted and harvested wheat and barley and stored it on the property. But before he could sell it, his father, Richard Clark, a member of the freemen now in custody, ordered him off the ranch.
My dad told me not to come back. But he didn't say he'd kill me. But he told me not to come back for any grain. I don't have any money to pay my bills right now. And I need that grain out of there.
He's more or less lost part of his family. And I guess I just don't understand how they could do this to him.
Clark now keeps a small herd of cattle on snowy pasture that he rents. Because he cannot use his land on the family ranch, 30 of his newborn calves have died.
If I had the barn and the facilities, my death losses wouldn't be near as great as they have been the last 2 weeks.
While he worries about his cattle and his bills, Clark also worries about his grandparents.
I don't want to see anybody get shot or killed either, but they're wrong and they need to be gotten out of there.
For now, Dean Clark can only do the same thing everyone else here is doing. Wait. Barry Seraphin, ABC News, Jordan, Montana.
Elsewhere in the country today, the former mayor of Cleveland, Carl Stokes, has died. In 1967, Mr. Stokes became the first black American to be elected the mayor of a major American cities. I have never before, he told his supporters that night, known the full meaning of the words, God bless America. Mr. Stokes died of cancer, and he was 68. We'll be back right after this.
With a Pentium processor inside your PC, you have a doorway to intriguing internet sites like the Smithsonian. For the best of the internet, it's the Intel Pentium processor. With a Pentium processor inside your PC, you have a doorway to fast-moving programs like FIFA Soccer 96. For the best of PC software, it's the Intel Pentium processor.
A salad imagines that somewhere there's a taste that's purely exotic. Kraft Free knows where it is. Where Mediterranean herbs and spices frolic in a creamy Italian dressing that is amazingly fat-free. New Kraft Free Creamy Italian. Exquisitely uninhibited. Deliciously Kraft. Salads love Kraft.
The lights were out. John's sound asleep. And what am I doing? I'm hurting. I can't sleep, and I've got to work tomorrow. But I wasn't so sure about taking something. About how I'd feel in the morning. I went ahead and took Tylenol PM. It was the right choice. It stops my pain. It helps me sleep. So when morning comes, I'm ready to go. Right on time. All rested and feeling great. Hi, honey.
Rest easy. It's Tylenol PM. Now also available in easy-to-swallow gel tabs.
Good morning.
How was the couch, okay?
Oh, it was great. Complete bran flakes. No bacon and eggs.
You want me to make you some?
No, it's all right. No, it's all right.
She'll make it for you if you want. No, I'll make it.
I see. Somebody's birthday's coming up.
Hey, I realized I eat lousy. I don't work out. I had to do something.
Thousands of people have started turning their lives around with 4 little words. Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes.
Are you eating this just to humor me?
No, I just don't want to start looking like you.
Kellogg's Complete Bran Flakes. It's a start.
Great Britain has finally agreed on extraordinary measures to deal with its mad cow disease. The European Union plan will have Britain destroy 5 million of its cattle. That's nearly 40% of the entire British herd. ABC's Mike Lee reports tonight on this considerable undertaking.
Britain will have to destroy 15,000 cattle per week for 6 years. All cattle born prior to November 1994. That's because those are the ones that may have eaten a contaminated feed mixture before it was outlawed. British farmers already slaughter 15,000 cattle per week for beef and meat products. But now, that same number will be slaughtered and incinerated. Farmers will be compensated for loss of income by the British and other European governments. British farmers had volunteered to destroy their older cattle, hoping that would restore consumer confidence. The government here is furious that Europe is still refusing to lift the ban on British beef.
That ban is not justified. It is not based on sound scientific analysis. It is disproportionate. It should be removed.
Many British farmers fear the worst is yet to come. Some European nations are pushing for the destruction of many more British cattle, in some cases entire herds, including healthy young cattle, if the herd has had any cases of mad cow disease.
With the ridiculous slaughter policy they could be talking about within Europe, EEC, where it's not based on scientific fact, of course we could go under. Anybody could go under.
Robert Ransom believes there has been a public panic over an unproven link between mad cow disease and a human brain disease.
We have done nothing wrong whatsoever that I can see. There is a scare, but it's been blown out of all proportion.
But with so much now beyond his control, all Farmer Ransom can do is destroy at least 50% of his herd and hope that the public will eventually come back to beef. Mike Lee, ABC News, Bullhead Green, England.
On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrials gained another 18 points to close at 56.89. On the NASDAQ market, stocks gained 4.5 points. Our final report in just a moment.
I've worked with Jim for a while now. He knows exactly what he's going to do when he retires. He reads annual reports cover to cover. Believes the smartest thing he ever did was marry Claire. He worked hard for his money and thinks it's about time his money returned the favor. Because I know Jim, I know what investments he's comfortable with.
Hey, foul!
Just ask your doctor. Bayer. Powerful pain relief and so much more.
Now, extra strength Bayer PM, the only aspirin that gently helps you sleep.
All right, we're going low-fat, fresh turkey, lettuce, tomato on wheat. What? No Best Foods?
Now you can eat low-fat and still have great taste with Best Foods low-fat mayonnaise dressing. It tastes so delicious you won't believe it has only 1 gram of fat.
What? No Best Foods?
Best Foods low-fat mayonnaise dressing.
Bring out the best foods and bring out the best.
I'm Paul Lindman. Local news coming up. Shocking statistics out of Clark County. Why are so many Southwest Washington women getting AIDS? Then meet a DARE officer who was too good at teaching kids to say no to drugs. Stay tuned for his story. The news is next.
Finally this evening, Ron Brown, and he was Ron, never Ronald H. Brown, to anyone who encountered him. Many of us who cover politics have known him for years. The president said of him today that he was one of the best advisors and one of the ablest people he knew. ABC's Jack Smith reports from Washington tonight on Ron Brown's life and career.
When Ron Brown was named Secretary of Commerce 3 years ago, he became the first black American ever to hold that job.
I have learned that no goal is beyond our reach.
Ron Brown was an ethnic minority with a majority dream. He saw the big picture.
He was raised by middle-class parents in Harlem. Unlike many black leaders, however, he took little part in the civil rights movement. Instead, he chose a different path, attending virtually all-white Middlebury College in Vermont, and later working for a prominent lobbying firm. He became the consummate Washington insider. His role as peacemaker between Jesse Jackson and Michael Dukakis in 1988 earned him the chairmanship of the Democratic Party, which he used to help Bill Clinton win the presidency.
President Clinton owes him a large share of the credit for being president of the United States because of the fashion in which he handled the National Party.
Brown's reward was to be named Secretary of Commerce.
I will be relentlessly aggressive and pragmatic in advancing the health and growth of the American economy.
But Brown's past as a Washington lobbyist quickly raised ethical questions.
Is there any truth at all to these allegations?
None whatever.
Last year, an independent counsel began investigating his financial dealings. Undeterred, Brown crisscrossed the globe to China, where some think he put trade above human rights.
This mission is an example of our commitment to helping you win greater United States market share.
And to the Middle East.
Political goals are very important, but economic goals are at least as important. I think that the two go hand in hand.
Brown often traveled in the company of CEOs.
He was the first truly global Secretary of Commerce. He was our Minister of Commerce worldwide.
A tireless fighter for American business and American jobs, and proof, he once said, that even a kid from Harlem can make it. Jack Smith, ABC News, Washington.
Ron Brown. That is our report on World News Tonight. Later this evening, more on the plane crash and the Unabomber on prime time, and then later on Nightline as well. I'm Peter Jennings. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night. And
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
ABC Wednesday, Grace is all new.
Well, Silicos